Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Facebook live video where I'm going to be talking about having more fun. Please excuse my absence over the last 2 weeks. I know I usually told you every Thursday I'm here on Facebook doing these live videos, and I missed last week because I was camping in Myrtle Beach and it rained. And then a week before, I was in Montana at a retreat where it was actually amazing. But I apologize for not being here, but I'm back and we are already in summer. And for those of you who are brand new to me, who are seeing this in your newsfeed, I'm Andrea Owen. I run the joint over here at Your Kick-Ass Life and over at yourkickasslife.com. And I am also the author of this book, 52 Ways to Live a Kick-Ass Life, where I'm coming to you live every week. And I'm going through a chapter a week from my book. There are 52 of them, so we have a lot of ground to cover. We're already on chapter 15. If you missed previous weeks, you can go back and watch those videos. They're fairly short. I'm not just reading from the book. What I'm doing is going over some of the most important tools that I pull from the chapters, as well as giving you some new insight as well. I wrote this book 4 or 5 years ago, so I have more insight to some of the topics, and I'm happy to share it with you. So if you are here, go ahead and say hi, pop in your favorite emoji, or give me a hi. Tell me where you are watching from. And at the end of the video, I'm happy to pop over to the comments and answer any questions that you have, or just give you a shout out and say hi. This topic is about having more fun. I had a funny conversation on my personal Facebook page today about exclamation marks, because when I did the description for this video, I did an exclamation mark, and I was like, we need a new punctuation mark that is like more exciting than a period, but less excited than an exclamation mark, because kind of don't you feel like you have sentences like that where to put an exclamation mark means you're like super excited, but you're like, I'm not quite that excited. But what is the punctuation that we use for that? We don't have one. I think that we should have one. Hi, Di from Clovis. You're back. I'm super happy that you're here again. And Chelsea's here too. Hey, ladies. All right, so let's dive into the topic. This one, confession, I need to practice what I preach on this, on the topic of having fun. So raise your hand if you are someone who feels like you don't have enough fun in your life. Me, double hand. The thing is, when you're a grown-up and you think about having fun, I think what happens sometimes is that our inner critic comes in and says, don't have time for that. I am a grown-up. I need to do some adulting. Adults don't have time to be fun. I need to be responsible. I have a job. I'm a parent. All of these noble excuses come in to just really push the notion of having fun out the window, right? Who's with me? Yes. Okay. So I know that happens to me too. I'm like, sometimes the thought of having fun just feels really exhausting, right? Chelsea says, yes, fun is not on the daily list. That's what we're going to talk about here. And maybe you're like, okay, well, that's not even something that I've even thought about lately. Like, how do I know if I should implement more fun in my life? So what I wrote in the book is, the following are all crystal clear indicators that it's time to get some belly laughs in, get off your ass, and just generally enjoy more life. One of them is when your focus becomes narrow and your to-do list feels like the end-all be-all of your existence. I know that I could do that. I feel like a slave to my Google Calendar sometimes, and I use Google Tasks, and I'm like, I live to like check those little boxes of things that I've done, and like that makes me feel better. And really, I think I personally use that as a red flag of I need to get out and enjoy more of my life. I need to get outside. I need to just have more fun in my life. I'm going to get to like what that actually looks like in a minute. Another indicator where you might be needing to have more fun in your life is that when something feels like a really big deal, but when you sit down to think about it, it's not. So let's say something happens in your life where it like when you like logically a few minutes later, a few days later, think about it, you're like, I may have overreacted to that. This may not be as big of a deal as I think it is. So anytime, and I know that happens too sometimes with just productivity exhaustion, when you're going and doing and doing and going and just really not having any downtime and play and rest. And the last bullet point I have as an indicator that you might need to have more fun in your life, when you flat out think to yourself, I wish I was having more fun. That's an obvious one, right? And this is not to say, like, on a quick side note here, like if you're going through some really hard stuff right now, like if you're grieving something, if you're going through a really egregious breakup or something like that, definitely like feel what you need to feel in terms of grief or going through the struggle of whatever you need to be. What I'm not saying here is if you're going through a really hard time, then having more fun is the answer. That's your only medicine. If you feel like in your gut, like, yeah, I could probably use some good belly laughs or something like that, then yes. But I just want to say a side note to all of those people in the struggle right now. There is a time and a place for everything, and fun is on that list, and it may not be time for you. So let's talk about fun for a minute. And if you think of something like off the top of your head that you know that you would like to do more that and have more fun that you haven't done in a long time, or maybe it's something you've never done that feels really fun. Like, you know what's something that I've never done? I've never been to a comedy club, ever. And they're here. Like I live, like it's like a 30-minute drive for me to go. And I know like sometimes there does. I don't know. Have you guys ever been to a comedy club before? I haven't ever. And like that's something that like would be on my list of that sounds like a lot of fun. Maybe someday I'll do that. So I'm curious, like what are the things that you like used to do that was fun that you haven't done in a long time? Something that you've always wanted to do that sounds like fun? When we talk about fun too, sometimes we think that it needs to be like this big task, right? Of, I don't know, going in a hot air balloon or going zip lining. I'm thinking of like outdoor activities. It doesn't need to be a big sweeping gesture of fun or going bowling or something like that. It can be taking 10 minutes to color in a coloring book. It can be 5 minutes of running through the sprinklers. I know it's summertime over here in this part of the world, and one thing that I had done in a really long time was to play with water balloons with my kids, because there's that mom part of me who was like, this is such a mess. I'm gonna have to be the one to end up cleaning it up. The truth is my kids are big enough now to clean up their own mess with this, and we ended up having a lot of fun. Although it does hurt to tie the knot in water balloons, and now they make those water balloons that are like the self tying or something. So I need to get some of those. But what I'm asking you is like, what are the small things that you can do that really just evoke this connection with yourself, connection with this childlike part of you? I know that if you're familiar with Brene Brown's work, and I know those of you who follow my podcast or any of the stuff I do, you know that I'm a big fan of hers. And she has like those 10 guideposts for wholehearted living. I believe it's the one where she says letting go of, it's either anxiety as a lifestyle or productivity as self-worth. Those are really similar, but the antidote for that, and what she says the research shows to cultivate the opposite of that is cultivating rest and play. And I think that unless you're doing something that's exhausting during your playtime or fun time, that it is having fun and resting is a way of rest. And I'm not making this video and telling you to go out and have more fun just for the sake of crossing it off the list and having it be like something to do. It is really an element of self-care. It's an element of self-love, of being kind to yourself, because we are human beings and we are meant for that type of play and rest, and it refuels you. It helps you to come back to who you really are as a human. And okay, so I have some questions in the chapter, which are kind of journaling questions. So if you want to take this on, if you want to take this a step further, this would be a good point for you to get out a piece of paper or a Post-it or write on your arm with lip liner, whatever you want to do. And if you have no idea if you need more fun in your life or not, let's start and answer these 3 questions. All right, so the first one is, on a scale of 1 to 10, from a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most, how much fun are you having on a regular basis on average? So type in the comments. Personally, I'll be really honest with y'all, I'm probably That's embarrassing. I'm totally calling myself out. I'm probably like a 3 or a 4. It really depends on. Like I mentioned, I was in a retreat in Montana, and we went to the Glacier National Park. So that was really fun. So I mean, if I'm going to be on average, like I might rate myself like a 4 or a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10 of how much fun we're having. If you're just joining me, I'm asking everyone on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how much fun are you having on a regular basis? And I am not asking you, I'm not saying you should be at a 10 all the time in your life. So it's just kind of like that, taking inventory of how much fun slash how much rest are you getting in your life on a kind of on a average thing. So what is yours? Colleen says a 2 or a 3. Yes, Chelsea says a 6. Chelsea, I'm curious to know what you do for fun, since you rated yourself a 6. Joe says 3 or 4. And those that, because that's not bad, Chelsea. I'm proud of that. But yes, okay, so it sounds like many of us need to have more fun. The second question is, do you think at the end of your life you might say, I wish I had had more fun? I think that at the end of my life, that might be something that I say, like, I wish I would have taken more time off. I wish I would have ran through the sprinklers more. And I find, and if anyone's listening who has kids, there are some things that my kids do that are, like child activities where I'm like, stab me with a fork. I do not want to do that. One of them is Play-Doh. No. I don't want to do Play-Doh. But what I love to do is things like jump rope, draw on the sidewalk with chalk, and they even make the chalk things where you don't have to like get down on the ground, because sometimes like when you get a little bit older and it's like not as easy to like sit on the cement and play with chalk, but they make them like where it's like you can draw from standing up. They make these really cool chalk things. So it's like pick your fun things. You don't, like, this is the cool part of being a grown-up, is like you get to decide whatever it is that you want to do. That's the quote unquote fun part. The last question to ask yourself on this topic is, are you envious of other people that are having more fun than you are? And I know I have a friend, Rebecca Tracy, and she is an avid rock climber, and she takes like several weeks off during the year and goes and rock climbs. And it's like, do I really want to climb rocks like she does? Not particularly. It's not a skill that I want to take on, but I find myself envious sometimes of like the amount of rest that she demands in her life, and she's created that for herself. So to me, that's an indicator that my soul, my spirit, is like yes to that. And you could say all day long what your excuses are, like, well, I don't have that kind of career that allows me to do that. And that might very well be the case. But what is one small step that you can take in order to get closer to that? I mean, you don't have to take weeks off at a time to go rock climbing, but what is one thing you can do? Because sometimes when we see someone else's life and we see a part of that we want for ourselves, we make up that in order to satisfy that part of us, we need to have all of that. That might be something that you work up to. It might be a goal that you have to get there. But what is one small thing that you can do to get there? And really, I think too, we get so disconnected from what is fun in our life that one thing, I'm going to leave you with this, like one thing to think about is, what is something that you used to do as a kid that you found really fun, that you were thinking about, you could take that up again. Maybe it's something that has anything to do with being creative. And maybe it's singing or drawing or dancing or creating, maybe it's Play-Doh. I'll give you all of mine. But creativity is fun. I mean, I could have a whole video about that. So maybe what is something creative that you don't do anymore, or that you do only a little bit, only when you have time, when you find the time, when you get around to it? What is that you could carve out the time in your schedule? Because if you don't carve out the time in your schedule, you're not going to do it. It's like that with pretty much everything. Right? Okay, so that was what chapter was that? 15, I think we were on, about having more fun. Next week, we're going to talk about friendships, which is a super, super juicy topic. I'm going to hop on over to the comments Chelsea says that, because I asked Chelsea, what is the thing that you are doing regularly that you rated yourself a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10 in the fun department? Chelsea says, laughing a lot more at daily things I do, stepping out of my comfort zone. Go, girl. Colleen says, I've had periods of great fun. It goes in cycles, I suppose. Yes, I totally agree with that. I'm so glad that you said that, Colleen, because again, it's not about you should be having all the fun all the time. I think that when we are committed to something in our life wholeheartedly, whole hog, then something else might be dropping off. So when we are highly committed, when we have children, when we have high demanding jobs, when we are in a committed relationship, when we're going after a big goal, starting a business, anything like that, a lot of your time and energy is being demanded of you. So probably what's going to fall off are things like having fun and, unfortunately, resting. So again, it's like, if nothing else, if you walk away with nothing else in this video, I would love for you to just be aware of it. And those bullet points that I talked about in the beginning of the video, are you feeling a calling to rest more, to have more fun, to simply take care of yourself? So great observation and comment, Colleen. Chelsea also says, I try to dance more when I'm singing and cooking. I do that in the kitchen. So maybe I guess I have more fun than I think that I do, because we do a lot of dance parties over here at the Owen House. And yes. So Samantha says, theater. Got back into it as an adult 3 years ago, and it's been amazing. So time consuming, but worth it. I love that, Samantha. I'm so glad that you did. And let's see, what else? Definitely, Colleen has definitely too much responsibility here. Yes, that is about it. If you all love these videos, I'm here most Thursdays doing these Facebook Live videos, covering a chapter a week. And if you liked it, you would probably love my podcast. It is over on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Or you just search for Your Kick-Ass Life. If you are brand new to podcasts and you've never done it before, they're amazing. I listen to several of them. And you can also go over to Your Kick-Ass Life and visit the podcast tab and see more about it. So thank you all for being here so much. I love you all. I will see you out in cyberspace, and I will see you next week. All right, bye.